Everyone thinks Roman burials meant grand tombs. They're catastrophically wrong. The vast majority of Rome's common citizens, the everyday people who built its roads, sold its bread, and raised its children, didn't have the luxury of a family tomb. Their lives were often a struggle, and their deaths, for many, were just as unremarked. What happened to their bodies when there was no plot of land, no marble inscription, no family legacy to preserve? For the wealthy, death was an elaborate affair. Mausoleums lined the roads leading into Rome, monuments to family prestige and eternal remembrance. Think of the Appian Way, flanked by these impressive structures built to last for centuries, ensuring a continuous family legacy. But step away from the grand avenues, away from the villas and the senators, and you enter a different Rome. A city teeming with millions, many living in cramped, insular, multi-story apartment blocks with little property, less wealth, and often no direct family line to speak of. These were the forgotten, even in death. Cremation was common in the early Republic, but by the imperial period, inhumation or burial became more prevalent. Yet space was always a problem. Rome was a sprawling metropolis, but land within and immediately outside its walls was valuable. A burial plot was a commodity, not a given right. So what were the options for a common laborer, a domestic slave, or a lonely widow with no heirs? One of the most common solutions was the collegia funeraria, or burial clubs. These were social organizations, much like modern-day fraternities or unions, where members paid regular dues. In exchange for these contributions, the club guaranteed a proper burial for its members, and sometimes for their immediate family. This wasn't just about the practicalities of disposing of a body, it was about dignity. It was about not being cast aside, truly forgotten. These clubs often owned plots of land, sometimes catacombs, where their members could be interred. They might even provide a small funerary feast, a last communal act to honor the deceased. For many, this was their only hope for a respectable end. But not everyone could afford even the modest dues of a burial club. For the truly destitute, the very poorest of the poor, the options were grim. Rome had public burial grounds, often simple pits outside the city walls. These were known as puticuli. These puticuli were essentially mass graves. Bodies would be brought unceremoniously and thrown into these pits, often with little or no individual marking. It was a stark reality for those who had nothing, a final indignity in a life already full of hardship. Archaeological excavations, like those at the Esquiline necropolis, have unearthed these mass burials, providing a chilling glimpse into the fate of Rome's most marginalized. Imagine the anonymous multitude, their stories lost to time, their names never etched on stone. Slaves, too, faced a complex fate. Some, particularly favored household slaves, might be buried alongside their masters or at least in a designated area on the master's property. This was rare, a sign of unusual affection or status. More often, however, slaves were simply property. Their bodies, upon death, were disposed of as such. They might be buried in unmarked graves, or their remains might be sold to medical schools for study, a practice that, while not widespread, did occur. Then there were the columbaria. These were communal tombs, often built by wealthy individuals or corporations, featuring niches arranged in rows like dovecotes. Each niche would hold an urn containing the ashes of the deceased, sometimes with a small plaque. These columbaria offered a more dignified and affordable option than a private tomb. Families, or even individuals, could purchase a niche, ensuring their remains had a permanent, if shared, resting place. It was a practical solution for the burgeoning population. Even for those without a family tomb, the desire for remembrance was strong. Graffiti on walls, small offerings at crossroads, or simple, crude markers could serve as a testament to a life lived, however briefly, however humbly. The idea of a good death in Rome wasn't just about dying peacefully. It was about having your memory preserved, your name spoken. For the forgotten dead, this final honor was often elusive, a luxury reserved for the privileged. Their stories, though largely unwritten, are woven into the very fabric of Rome. The anonymous bones beneath the modern city, the faint inscriptions in communal tombs, they speak of millions whose lives and deaths were often overlooked by history. It's a poignant reminder that history isn't just about emperors and empires, but about the countless ordinary individuals whose daily struggles and silent departures shaped the ancient world just as profoundly. Their fates, though humble, deserve our reflection. To uncover more hidden corners of ancient daily life, join us next time.